Okay, in the Nearpod app, take a screenshot and then crop it so you're just seeing this part of the page. Save that. Now we are going to open up Sketches School and let's get a new page. Remember, if we touch these three dots and we look for the download button and then hit photo, we can select this and then we can make it bigger. Make it as big as you can fit it on the screen. Center it. Don't get it too close to the back button in the top left. Okay, so the first row says dot and the tool is pen, which is the second tool. So go ahead and open your tools. Here's the second tool, the pen, and this is what we're going to use for that first row across. I'm going to use a graphite color, so I'm getting a dark gray, and I'm going to make dots to create a very light value. Next, I'm going to get a slightly bigger pencil, so I'm using the middle size. And again, I'm going to be creating dots, but this time it's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to do that by making more dots. And some of these dots are a little bit bigger because it's a bigger pencil. So I'm building up density of the graphite pencil in this box to make it appear darker. Now you can probably guess what I'm going to do for the next three boxes. I'm going to use a bigger sized pencil. I'm going to create larger dots, and the dots are going to be closer together. So I'm building up, again, more density. When I get to the fifth box, it's going to be almost black. So you should see a very clear difference from light all the way to dark in your value scale. The next row says line, and we're using marker, which is the third tool. So go ahead and get out the marker tool. And when we're using line to create value, you can make the lines go any way. They can go horizontal, vertically, or diagonally. I'm making them diagonally. And I'm undoing it here because I made them too close together and it was too dark. So this first box needs to be very light. Can you guess what we are going to do next? You got it. We are going to use bigger and bigger marker tools. By changing from small to medium to large, we're going to draw more lines, and the lines are going to be closer together. When we do that, we're going to build up more line density, and it's going to get darker. When you get to the fourth and fifth boxes, they're getting pretty dark, and you can also start to overlap with this tool, the marker tool. So you can see overlapping happening, and it's creating a darker gray, almost black in that fifth box. In the cross-hatching row, we are going to use the pencil, which is the first tool. So you're going to go ahead and get your pencil out, and cross-hatching is using lines that cross. So I'm going to use just a few lines that cross in the very lightest box, and then I'm going to use more and more lines to build up line density as I get towards the darker box. You can also use a bigger pencil. Now, you couldn't really do that on paper. You're probably going to be using one tool, one pencil, but you can do it in this app. In the fourth row, you're going to be creating pattern, and you're going to be creating light to dark values using a pattern. You're going to be using the brush, which is the fourth tool down for this. You can use any pattern you want. You could use stars, you could use hearts, you could use X's. I'm using spirals. So in the first box, I have one kind of loose spiral to create a light value. And then I'm going to create more spirals, make them tighter, and make them closer together to make it increasingly dark as I move towards the dark section of the row. For the last row, we're going to be using two tools. We're going to be using the pencil and we're going to be using the blender. So we're going to be going back and forth between those two tools. I'm going to start out by laying down a little bit of pencil in the first box, and then I'm going to switch. I'm going to pick up my blender tool, which is sometimes called a blending stump or a blending stomp, and I'm actually blending the color to create a very light gray. You're going to move on to your second box. You're going to lay down a little more dense color. Blend it out. As you go towards the right and you're getting darker and darker, you're just going to be adding more of the graphite, the digital graphite, and blending it. You might need to go back in a couple times with more graphite, just like you would on paper, in order to build up the value. I hope you had fun building your skill with creating value. I encourage you to practice this some more. Practice it with different medias, just like we did today. Practice it with digital medias and practice it on paper. The more you practice, the better your skills become.